What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the show. And this week, well, first of all, the Abrazo Football Podcast, drinking it here. So this week, we're going to be talking about how, what, why streaming, basically. It's not easy to find how to stream the game, or, if you're watching an English game, then suddenly you want to watch an FA Cup game, or you want to watch a Champions League. These are all in different places. So we're going to talk about streaming, illegal streaming, and essentially who we want to take over this streaming war, as we'll call it. So, Blaine, you're out there in the United States. How many subscriptions do you have just to watch football?
So, cable, essentially, provided by way of YouTube TV, which gives me access to the Premier League on NBC. ESPN Plus, so I can watch La Liga and your England Cup matches, as well as like the Eredivisie and the Bundesliga when I choose to. Paramount Plus for all of the CBS games, so that's Champions League, Europa League, anything UEFA, as well as this one, Serie A, and then some random like World Cup qualifiers for CONCACAF and CONMEBOL. Then me and you split the beIN Sports so we can watch the French League, as well as the Turkish League and the Portuguese League and the Argentine League and the Brazilian League. And I feel like there's one more, but maybe I'm wrong. No, I think that's it. Oh, no, I'm not. It's not it. And Apple TV Plus now, so I can watch Major League Soccer. Gotta watch, Real Salt Lake and a few other teams, for the odd game. Even though the production value on Apple TV has gone up, so like I can't even lie to you. I watched every single Major League Soccer game last night on my couch.
Are you serious? Dude, I turned it on just because, like, I've not never. I mean, people know I don't like Major League Soccer, but the production is crazy. Yeah. The cameras. So Chad was like, "Yo, Apple fronted the cost for every stadium to have these higher like tech cameras." Dang. And you can tell.
Yeah, you can tell. And also, like, here's the thing that I feel like had made it, like, we're not pushing like a Major League Soccer agenda. Like, I enjoy watching it now because it's on Apple and the production's gone up. But like, they have MLS 360, which is kind of like what for the US people, when you watch, like, if you just watch like the group stages on CBS, they'll have like all of the games going, but like they flash back to every game. But what Major League Soccer on Apple does is they'll have like 4 screens up on the same screen, and all the games are going, and they're just giving commentary on all of them like simultaneously. So it's like you can watch 4 games all at the same time, and they'll be like, and like you can watch the action, but they'll be like, oh, like Cincinnati versus St. Louis, like this is what's going, so that screen will like get slightly bigger and you can see it. And I feel like I'm babbling, but like it's real. Like I think that would be really cool for like Premier League when like all the teams are playing. Like you could see like, oh, it's like like Fulham versus Man City in one corner, and then like you can like go to different ones and make them bigger if you want to focus on those, or you can just leave it on there and there will be like just 4 people giving commentary about all those games. So like it's oddly enjoyable, especially when you're watching a league that's like less. Like, I don't want to sit down and watch 90 minutes of like St. Louis versus Nashville. I would never do that. But if it's like I can watch 4 games and then like I can only see all the action for 90 minutes, it's a much more enjoyable thing. So anyway, keep going, Brooks. I feel like I'm talking nonsense. I don't know what
you're
I'm
good.
Talking about.
So basically you have, because you pay for cable, you can get English Premier League, the English Cup stuff, La Liga, Champions League, and Serie A.
I mean, that's all through like 4 or 5 different services, though.
But doesn't it come through YouTube or no?
No, YouTube only. YouTube only does Premier League.
Only, so you don't get Paramount Plus for, you don't get, okay. No. So you've got to pay for YouTube, you've got to pay for Paramount Plus, you've got to pay for ESPN Plus, you've got to pay for
Apple TV Plus,
MLS, yeah. Apple TV plus the MLS package. That's like Apple TV is like $5, and then they're like, "Hey, oh, you got to also pay $80." But for all you out there that have T-Mobile, it's free. And then that gives you, so you pay for 4 different things.
And then we
5 because we do
the BN Sports.
Yeah. And you do pay for that.
Yeah, I pay money for all of those.
Yeah, so I'm in Spain, and it's pretty nice because for you, for example, like how much is YouTube TV is like $70. They're just going up even higher, right?
How'd you know, bro? Yeah, like it's go. They're up in the price to like 75.
It's insane.
I'm about to
here
cancel.
in Spain, yeah, no, it's not worth it. But so this is what you should do, and I mean everybody here is going to hear this. But anyway, so when I got to Spain, I had to look it up and see who. So DAZN hosts it here.
Yeah.
And it started out when I got here a year ago for $9 a month, which is like wild cheap. When you talk about you pay $70 a month for YouTube TV, but it's gone up a bit. I think it's like 12 now. But for DAZN, with DAZN, you get obviously the Premier League. Mm-hmm. You also get F1. Today they had a PSG on there though, because in Spain PSG is for Eurosport. I don't even know how to get that. But the only way to get La Liga and Champions League here and Serie A is Movistar. I don't have Movistar. I have Orange, and they don't give me anything. But yeah, so I just wish that, like, for example, all of it goes through like Apple TV for like just how MLS is doing it, or Apple's doing it with MLS, because I think that that's so easy. It's so simple. There's no blackouts. It doesn't matter where in the world you are, you can watch it. Like when I go back to visit in the States, I've got a VPN now, or I've got to find somebody else's login to use. I can't stand it. It's just, it's like sickening. Even when I was in the US, I remember when NBC signed the deal in like 2012, maybe?
It was early on, in the 2000s. That was a beautiful thing, though.
It was beautiful, but they were like, it'll always be on NBC.
Oh, yeah, they lied. They lied to you. It was a lie.
Yeah, now it's like, oh, well, now you got to pay Peacock too.
Yep. Yeah.
If you don't, so I mean, the big thing that people are getting at right now is that like the illegal streamings are going crazy, but it's like they're leaving people no choice.
Well, especially with blackouts. With the blackouts, it's just unexcusable. Like, it's one thing to say, like, here are paywalls, but when they're like, yo, like, if you live in, Cambridge, you can't watch the Manchester Derby because it's at 2:00 in the afternoon and it's illegal to stream that. You can't. Like, unless you go to Old Trafford, you have to illegally stream. This is like, that's nuts.
Why?
That's nuts.
This is like cultural at this point. Like, culturally, in the UK, football is like religion nearly. I mean, in most of the world it is, but to literally say like the 2:00, or I can't remember, is it 2:00 or 3:00 game is blacked out because we don't believe in streaming a soccer game or hosting or putting it on TV for some
arbitrary
rule that's
reason and has
way
basis.
Dated at this point. Yeah. That's just insane. Yeah. I don't know. I wish, like, the other thing that I don't really know, I guess, where this conversation is going at this point, but I do think that for me, I would love it if like, I mean, I'm obviously an Apple fan, but how easy it is to just buy MLS on Apple's streaming thing, their platform. The quality is amazing. Even like their studio is pretty awesome. I don't really know much about their hosts, not a huge fan. But for example, CBS Sports, I think now that CBS has it, and it was on Bleacher Report in the States, but now it's on CBS in the States. I love like Micah Richards, Thierry Henry, Kate Abdo. I think that
their hosts the CBS hosts are top tier, and they're hilarious.
Hilarious, yeah. But I just don't like Paramount. I think that the service, the app, it's trash.
It's the worst. Actually, nah. The BN Sports is at the bottom. Then Paramount's right slightly better than them because I don't have to log in every time I want to watch a game.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and the reason that so obviously big PSG fan, but also now that Messi's there, even bigger fan, but you can only, like, basically BN is one of the, I forget how it works. BN is owned by the same company that owns PSG.
Yeah, exactly. Mm-hmm.
So they're like never gonna relinquish the rights to PSG, which sucks because not everyone has beIN Sports, first of all. Second of all, streaming quality is terrible. And third, their announcers are never good. Their cast, their crew, like it. I mean, they have Arsene Wenger now, but like they're trying to make it, but it's not a great platform by any means. And they don't really, you have to have it through another service. Like,
Yeah.
you know, for example, now I don't know how DAZN played that one tonight. I'm trying to look this up to see if like DAZN in Spain now has rights to beIN Sports games, but it's essentially here in Spain it's Eurosport, and Eurosport had to choose to pick up beIN Sports. So it's just a mess everywhere in the world. I just wish that it was just one simple thing. And I know that it's up for grabs again in the US, right? Like, or did NBC already agree to a deal with them?
I got to be honest, I don't know. I would imagine that they locked it in again, but I don't know. All I can say is that at least from my perspective, like when the worse the streaming experience is, the less people are willing to watch it. Like I used to watch when ESPN had La Liga and Serie A. I watched more Serie A than I ever have in my entire life.
That was amazing. Ronaldinho was there at the time too, right? Wasn't that when he was with AC Milan during all that?
Yeah, I mean, they had it from like, I want to say like from high school up until last year. So like the majority of...
Oh, yeah, when they went ESPN Plus, then they made it go on ESPN Plus, like when Ronaldo switched to Juventus.
Mm-hmm. But my dad was paying for it, so it didn't matter. So for me, it worked. And like ESPN is like, I don't mind their host. I like ESPN. I mean, sometimes they say crazy, but for the most part, I like ESPN. But when it went to CBS, which first it was I think it was CBS Plus, and now it's Paramount Plus or whatever. I was just like, I can't, like, it's too hard to get to the games. I'm just like, I'm not watching. I'm not like, unless it's like for example, today Inter plays Juventus. Yeah. Like obviously I'm going to take time to go through the pain and hassle, but it's like, they hold you hostage, man. It's not fair. It's just, I mean, I get it. Everybody wants money, but I don't know where this conversation is going. I'll just tell you what I would like to see. I would like to see either Apple just buy the rights. I just want one person of the three that I prefer to buy the rights. Whether it's NBC/Peacock, whether it's ESPN/Disney, or if it's Apple Plus/Apple Sports Package. Just one of those three, just buy at least the top 5 leagues and European competitions and World Cup qualifiers. Because it's too hard. It's like, I mean, and I saw a breakdown, and this wasn't about sports, Brooks. I just saw a breakdown on the internet the other day where it was what was it? It was showing like, this is how much cable cost and this is how much streaming service costs. So like, think back to like when our parents were paying for cable all through growing up. Like I know my dad, like back in the day, like let's just say 2005, like we had, you know, HBO, Showtime, Cinemax, Stars, all those channels.
You had it all?
My dad had it all. And it was like $250 a month for that cable, for the cable package in 2005 that he was paying.
Golly.
I was in the business. I was opening envelopes. I was reading it. It was like $250. And like in my mind, I just got it in my mind. I was like, okay, this is how much it's going to cost for me to like live, you know, when I grow up. And I'm okay with that. But now we come around to the streaming era and it's like, okay, like if you just wanted Peacock by itself, it's like $10 a month. If you wanted just ESPN Plus or whatever, it's like $14. So that's $25. Like I'm saying, like all these services are no more than like $15 a month. And there's like 5 of them. So that's like, let's just say $75 after taxes a month to watch all the sports games you want. Is that better? Or is it worse, Brooks?
I mean, I guess that it's a little bit different, right? Because your dad had Showtime, HBO, Cinemax. Like he had all of those extras.
So yeah, you found, yeah, that's the point. Yeah. It's worse.
I think that,
it's worse.
but also it's worse. And also you can't it's at least when we were young, it was like, okay, it's just this button on the remote. Now it's like, oh, hold on, let me get out of this one. Let me go scroll down and find this app. Let me go to this. Oh, I gotta log in again. Or it's just a pain. Like
It's the convenience. Yeah. Like if
yeah.
someone was like, yo, $250 and you get like, because back then, like I feel like back then, this was before all the BS. Like we had access. I remember, like I had access to the French league. I remember watching like Bordeaux play like Nantes, just like on a random Sunday, just because I was bored and I was like, man, these guys suck. But I was like, I'm still gonna watch it, you know. Or like watching just like random like Eredivisie games or like random like games from the Brazilian league, and it's just like we had all these channels for $250. So I'm like, if someone's like, yo, just give me $250. And everything is on one app, to me, that sounds like a deal. I mean, that's a lot of money, but also, I mean, now we're factoring like, that's like everything that's on Hulu, everything that's on HBO Max, everything that's on Disney Plus, everything that's like, that's like, there was no content in, 2005 that I didn't have access to. All the, like, if it was a TV show or a movie or a live sports event, unless it was pay-per-view, for $250 a month, I had access to it on every TV in my house or on my MacBook. I could sign in to Comcast and stream it online, and it was one place. So that being said, I think it's worth it.
Would you like to wipe all of this, pay $0 a month, and just pay for, let's say it was all pay-per-view? Like, would you want to pay, I don't know, $2 per game that you want to watch?
I'd be fine with that too.
And not pay anything monthly. Like you're not paying $70 for YouTube. You're not paying $15 for ESPN. You're just paying like, oh, I want to watch PSG versus Rennes right now. Like, let me pay $2. Well, I want to watch Arsenal versus Everton. Let me pay $2.
I mean, me personally, obviously, yeah, that would be better. That would be way cheaper. I think that would be a stupid decision for streaming companies to make, because it's like, now, like if I have the choice to say like, okay, like, let's think of a game that I watched. I think, let's just say the Spurs game last weekend. The Spurs game last week. Okay. Like on a normal Saturday, I wouldn't pay $2 to watch Spurs Southampton, but because I've already paid for it and, I'm not doing anything at, 8:30 on a Saturday, I'll watch it. But if I have to pay extra for it, I'm probably going to stay in bed or hang out with my wife. I don't know. What about you? Like, I feel like I would rather, if I'm given the option, I feel like if I'm given the option to pay for what I watch, I'm going to watch less, just because for me, the psychology of saying like, oh yeah, this costs $2 versus me just saying like, hey, I have to pay $250 to get all the Chelsea matches, and be like, okay, because that I'm going to get every penny out of this and watch as much live sports as possible. I feel like, but obviously, I'd take the latter. Let me just pay for the Chelsea games and the Barcelona games and the PSG and the Inter games, and I'm happy. And just knowing that I have access to all that other stuff, just to say like, watch this, and they're just going to charge me $2. That's what the people would. For the people, that's the one for the people. That's what the people deserve.
Yeah, but I don't. Do you remember when it was on Bleacher Report for like an hour and a half?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And they would televise some of the games, but then the good ones, they'd be like, oh, you got to buy this one.
Never bought a single game.
Never bought a game. Because for me, it was the principle. I'm like, yo, that we want to watch PSG versus Bayern, but you're making us, you're intentionally putting on like, and no offense, but like Eintracht Frankfurt versus like,
Eintracht Frankfurt versus PSV.
Yeah, like I just don't want to watch that. We all want to watch those. Don't make me pay what everybody wants to watch. Like I would be fine with paying for that game if you weren't televising any of the games and you weren't trying to pull a fast one on us.
All or nothing.
So yeah, exactly.
It's like when you put the good ones behind the paywall. It's about principle.
Or put it on Peacock instead of putting it on NBC, like you said you were going to for like 10 years.
Yep.
Because so I just looked it up. They did in November. They signed the deal to extend it until 27-28 campaign. This is NBC Sports. They now have Premier League from all the way up until at least 2027, 2028. Do you know what they paid?
$3 billion.
$2.7 billion.
Okay, so I
US
said $3
dollars.
billion. That's right about
Yeah,
it.
you're right
That
on.
sounds
Yeah,
about
yeah, yeah.
right.
Yeah. So yeah, I don't know. When I watched that MLS, when I logged on, first of all, again, like, so T-Mobile gave us for free the MLS
Hmm.
streaming package through Apple TV. So, I signed up for it real quick. It took no time at all to get it for free, automatically hooked up to my Apple account on my Apple TV and phone and everything.
Beautiful thing.
I was just like, man, this is the future. So then I was like, now I'm interested in watching this MLS game, which I haven't watched one since then, but I wanted to see what it's like. I wanted to see the quality, and it's so easy. Like, not only am I not a huge fan, but obviously the time change is pretty bad for me. I'm watching games at like 2 a.m., but it was just the easiest thing in the world, and the quality was, I could like, the ref bent down to like spray, and he had an Apple Watch Ultra. I could tell the time on there. That's how good the quality was. I was like, this is insane.
Yeah, that's crazy.
We need this for every single league. I mean,
crazy.
imagine Champions League or World Cup, like, because you brought up a whole other story. I forgot about World Cup qualifiers or Euros. And I mean, I would love if Apple were to buy the rights for obviously the Premier League, World Cup, and all I would just say all international tournaments. If Apple had Premier League, international tournaments, and Champions League, they would they would bury everyone else in the competition.
Alternatively,
I think that
you know who actually does have the rights to make this happen? FIFA. The organization
is
FIFA.
that? Oh, they could just make a FIFA Plus.
They could just make a FIFA Plus streaming and give you access to every game. Because obviously they would have to do something. But if anyone could pull it off, it could be them. Because they govern all of those tournaments. All the leagues, all the international, all the qualifiers, that's all governed through them. So if they wanted to, they could say, listen, like, in order to be compliant in FIFA, like, you also have to allow us the rights to stream your games, and we can sell them on a per game basis.
Wow.
And we can do a revenue split with the teams involved. And, and they could say this can happen concurrently with Apple TV Plus or Peacock or The Zone or Amazon, wherever Amazon streams the Premier League in some places. Like, instead of
UK, yeah.
So technically they could do that. And, no one would lose money. No one would lose money. There would only be money to gain, right? There's only money to gain in that. Because it's like, if you already have Peacock, you might just continue to pay for Peacock. But someone that didn't have Peacock might be like, yo, like, I might want to buy the Liverpool game every Saturday for like $2 from FIFA. They just have to make it a less, like, not as good a deal as going with the streamers, like, you don't want to completely cut them off. But like, for example, like, you're like, oh, like ESPN Plus for a year is like $100. That's a big bang for your buck if you're watching a lot of sports. So like me, I would never stop paying for ESPN Plus because I watch a lot of ESPN Plus. But someone else that's illegally streaming, El Clasico or Der Klassiker from Bundesliga, they're going to be like, yo, like, instead of streaming it on this janky site that like gets pop-ups every 10 seconds, let me just pay this $2. Like, I save, as long as I don't do this more than 50 times a year, it's less than paying for a ESPN Plus subscription. And ESPN didn't lose anybody because they never had them. And, the Bundesliga makes some money. FIFA makes some money. God knows they don't need any more. And, I feel like, maybe we should consult FIFA. Should we be consulting?
Isn't that basically what FIFA did with EA Sports? They were like, nah, we're not renewing this deal anymore, so we're going to go our own way and do our own thing.
Oh, with the video game?
EA Sports, with the video game.
Yeah. Well, kind of, yeah. Because I think what they said is, like, you can't use the name FIFA anymore. We're going to keep the name FIFA and we're going to make our own video game, which, now EA Sports is just, was it EAFC? EA Football Club?
Yeah, but they did sign deals with some of these leagues or clubs, but I guess we digress. But yeah.
Well, I think
Yeah.
it was.
I mean, I
I
think
think
you're
it
onto
was
something.
EA. I don't know. I mean, bro, I don't know. I don't know this, but
Yeah.
I think it was EA that signed contracts with the clubs. But
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. Who knows, dude? I mean, it's a Canadian company. Who knows? I don't know. Maybe the laws are different for them, but I feel
Yeah.
like FIFA, like when FIFA makes the game, I think like there won't be any licensing problems at all. Because I think it was
Right.
EA was licensing the name FIFA from
Right.
FIFA, as well as like let's just take Juventus for example, who has notoriously not been in FIFA. So they refuse to allow EA to license them. But like FIFA doesn't need to get licensing permission from Juventus. They don't have to. So FIFA's making the game. It's like this is FIFA, the company. We're making our own game called FIFA. And Juventus, you are a part of FIFA, therefore you are a part of this game. Where it's EA, they're like, yo, we're only licensing the name, we're not licensed. So everything had to come one by one, and that's why there's like also like random teams that,
Yeah.
or like if you or another one was like what is it Pro Evolution Soccer or PES or whatever. Like instead of
Yeah.
having Manchester United, they call it like Meyerside Red, Meyerside Blue,
Yeah.
Merseyside Red, Merseyside Blue for Everton and Liverpool. So like stupid stuff like that, like West London FC for Chelsea. Like, because I mean that's not fun.
That's funny. So I know you got to go, but I just read this up. So FIFA did. I mean, EA signed a deal with the Premier League. So their new game, they have the rights to the Premier League worth around $500 million US. And CBS in America's streaming with Champions League goes until at least 29-30, which is wild.
Oh, that's so sad.
They're doing these Chelsea contracts at this point. These 8 years, the 7-8 year deals.
We down bad. We're gonna be down bad for a long time. We're gonna be down bad for a long time. I hope this is the last thing, and then I gotta run, unfortunately. So I know what Apple did with Major League Soccer was they were like, listen, like if we don't get this many like subscriptions or this many viewers, like we have an option to like kill this deal. Like if it ends up not being good. So if CBS has the same thing, we should just boycott them collectively. Nobody watch Champions League for like a year so that they can say this isn't making us money. Cancel the contract, and then maybe someone else can pick them up, and then we can all go back once they're off of a horrible streaming platform.
Yes. All right. Well, I mean, that was a fun little conversation. People, thanks for listening. Let us know what your thoughts are in the comments. Who do you want to win the streaming wars? Who do you like going streaming through? Who do you not like streaming through? What do you think is the fix? Also, did you get that MLS package through Apple? I'm really interested in who has this and like what everyone else's thoughts are, because I thought it was amazing. Anyway, thanks for your time.
Peace. I got 28.